It was a bright, sunny day. Birds were chirping, butterflies were flying, animals were crawling around. A beautiful day to be outside. My, what a beautiful day. And so I was inside, locked in my dirty little room, looking at the Steam page, scrolling, trying to see if there was anything that seemed interesting. Thinking about what can I find, what can I record, what to do. And so I stumbled upon a Steam page, D1Al-ogue, an interesting game that seemed to be about a man who repairs robots and talks with them. But to me, it just seems like propaganda. We love Clanker. And so I took it upon myself to check out the game and to see what kind of propaganda is being pushed onto the masses. If you do go ahead and enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And just to make this clear, this is all a joke. Much love. Hello, thank you so much for joining today. Today we are playing D1Al-ogue. And depending on who you're talking to, some people can feel a little iffy when it comes to the idea of robots, but you know, to me this just looks like propaganda. So I say we go ahead and take a look. And all jokes aside, hopefully you all do enjoy the video. Hello, Michelle. Okay, so I'm guessing this is the protagonist. I'm guessing this is who we are. How are you doing over there? I seem to have gotten a bit used to a life in Chroma City. Instead of the rising sun, I've started dividing my days by payment approvals and insufficient funds. So, it seems like we're a little broke here. The light monopolized by Sunshine Corp has replaced the sun, and most things are solved with price tags. We're in a very dystopian future, what it seems like. I wish beer was the only thing I had to pay for. Right. The price of beer went up again recently. They're invoking a little bit of an alcohol tax. Okay. Everything is going up, except for two things. The sun and my income. But Michelle, everything comes at a high price except for the value of labor. But I can find some stability, at least while I'm working. When I drifted here after we parted ways, I thought my incompetence was the reason for our breakup. Okay, so he's talking to Michelle. I'm assuming he's probably writing either a letter or an email, whatever it is. He's communicating with his ex-girlfriend, and for the reason that they broke up, you know, I can't completely say, but he moved to Chroma City, and it seems like he is currently working trying to make a living. You know, I don't blame him. Seems like it's a pretty hard life, and considering the dystopian world that we may head towards too, you know, I assume it's probably going to be a struggle that we're all going to share. I can't say things are completely different now, but here at least, while I'm holding onto my work, that weight lifts just for a moment. Regardless of how much I earn, for that time at least, I have the assurance that I won't collapse. The people I meet, the conversations we have, and what I've come to feel. I want to tell you about it. On the second floor of a commercial district, slightly away from the city center. Repair clinic D1Al-ogue. I'm sorry, I'm accidentally like clicking twice. So I do apologize if it skips, you know, the subtitles a little too fast. A place where the outside noise recedes with just a few words of small talk. Don't criticize my naming skills, because in Chroma City, they give estimates for heartbreaks and charge for repairs. Just a quick little fun fact, you know, having been in the medical field, heartbreaks are an actual thing, right? We know of it being as an emotional, you know, emotional situation, but it can end up translating to physical damage on the body, depending on how a person individually responds. And so I won't go into too much detail. You can search it up if you would like, but it is an actual thing. December 14th. Michelle. Lame. Right, I'm assuming this is our ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, whatever it may be. I'm assuming it's a girlfriend here, but I'm assuming this is the ex-girlfriend that we were, you know, sending that message to in concordance to how she responded. I said the name is totally lame. And Chris, did you have a beer? What's with the sentimental nonsense this early in the morning? I mean, maybe he did. I don't really know. I was thinking about the customer from yesterday, and I couldn't help it. He came in saying his portable virtual chip was stuck, but maybe it activated during repairs. Alright, they got the steam frame. I see, I see. Because he started running around the room like crazy, swinging a leather belt at me. Thanks to him, my dial equipment almost hit the dust too. That's because you have such a shady and lame name. I don't really understand the correlation that she's making between, you know, his store with, you know, the accident. But I think we'll just skip by that. She sounds, you know, kind of a drag to be with. I don't really know why he's still trying to hold on to her. Only customers fitting that description would show up. Ah, don't tell me. You're talking about the oasis of Chroma City based in neon light. D1Al-ogue Repair Clinic. Our repair clinic is an all-around sanctuary that provides not just quick and accurate repairs, but also emotional stability through comfortable conversation. Alright. That shady name is exactly why Eves needing repairs turn away and go somewhere else. I'm assuming Eves are the robots that one interacts with in the repair clinic. Emotional stability for Eves. That feels less like shady and more like creepy. Okay, so he's not just a repair station, but also a therapist. Basically, from what it's sounding like, you know, I can't comfortably say that's exactly what we're looking at, but, you know, piecing stuff together. Is that why you habitually make Eves wet themselves? Alright, I don't know what kind of game I walked into. I didn't see any tags, you know, concerning any particular scenes or CGI that could be taking place, so fair warned. To be precise, it's the acts of discharging overheated coolant. Your phrasing is misleading. Okay, same difference. What do you mean same difference? Okay, same difference is a phrase I use a lot. I don't understand why people are so confused by it, but you're probably the only one who describes it like that. Stop spouting nonsense so early and check your equipment already. Are you not opening for business today? We used to love stories like this. Okay, so they've grown distant over some time. Okay. Even though you used to sing about wanting to become an Eve when you were little. So, are they childhood friends? I'm a little confused here on, you know, what exactly the relationship is and what exactly happened, but I'm sure we'll probably get an answer to it at some point. Seems like the hangover from yesterday's beer is pretty bad. And, speaking of Eves, why don't you replace the outdated equipment in your repair clinic using a dial when D1Al is already out? Is disrespectful to them. Okay, so new equipment. What you're overlooking is that the D1Al equipment is strictly specialized for diagnosis. The diagnostic performance was so good from the first generation that even the 5th generation out, it hasn't improved dramatically. Then what's different? The main advancements are in unit synthesis, convenience in the synthesis process, overclocking synthesized parts, firmware modifications, etc. However, I can make up for the dial's lagging synthesis performance purely with the touch of my fingertips. Okay. So this is a master electrician, master repair technician. All right, the best in the world of what it sounds like. So I'm happy about that. That's actually kind of impressive, especially if I upgrade to a newer generation. Why is there an extra subscription fee? Okay, so this is definitely a dystopian world that we can probably land on with all these subscriptions, you know, going around and so on and so forth. But you know, we're not going to touch on that. There would be no point in having registered the business as D1Al-ogue. I don't seem to get it. I mean, I'm assuming it's probably connected to the machine that he's using. That's why I read it as D1Al-ogue, but I don't know if it's D1Al because the other one had a 5. I don't know. A little wit breathes vitality into a wary life, and also saying a strangely named repair clinic operating normally. I guess your skills really are unquestionable then. It should be a breeze if I suddenly test you with a standard practical level 1 mock maintenance, right? I don't really know how comfortable I feel doing that, but you know, I'll give it a go. Let's see, target moves 20. That is what we are trying to get done. You can check the damaged parts on dial, then you repair right now. Okay. Hover over the damaged parts to see the required units. Select damaged parts to repair. 4 layers, 6 indices. Okay, you can drag it around. So what it looks like, I'm assuming you're matching. Here's the battery. And then moves on the top. Interesting. Oh wait, am I supposed to be clicking here? Or do I move these? Move them? Okay, you can cancel by right clicking. Line 3 or more, they synthesize into a higher tier unit. Overcharge battery to overcharge it. Got it. Info panel. That's what we want to get done. The units that we need to get done. So I would just move it here. Replace button, swap it with the unit. Oh, okay. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Seems simple so far. Seems simple so far. Okay, so we don't need blue here because we already have that. But we do need a yellow. So we'll go ahead. I haven't even done anything. So I'm looking at the required units, and these two match, or all of these match these. So I'm assuming we just have to put it in that order. And then I said click the green button, so that's nice. The last damaged part requires a high tier unit. Press tab, pop up your phone. Click here. Power modules. Okay, so gauge bar. This gauge charges with a corresponding type with when 4 or more modules are synthesized. If you click it, try clicking a type. It just changed the color. So that's what that does. Okay. Click the reset button. Okay, so it looks like it is the second stage to the merging here. So I'm assuming there's something I'm missing here. Okay. Do I need to merge 3 of these? There we go. Look at that. I'm not even doing any of these. So it looks like it still wastes its battery. It wastes its battery even if I'm not doing it myself. I think that's interesting. It's a nice little matching game. I really do like that. Okay, but I didn't know you were this skilled, so thank you, thank you. I'm very good at this tutorial. Okay, it wouldn't be this fast for a level 1 mock maintenance. I see you in the new light. Okay, she likes my skills. She likes my skills. I mean, it's kind of a little strange name. You're just naming after your tool, but I kind of respect it. Especially because dialogue works with the machine, you know. If you care so much about first impressions, why don't you erase the suspicious slogan on the front door? I think first impressions are the most important wherever you go. I don't know what the slogan is. I must have missed it. Besides, there needs to be comfort during the repair process for them to be emotional stable and open up. So are they humans or are they robots? Because if they're robots, it seems like they've gotten a consciousness and they're able to relate and have emotions and so on and so forth. They basically have a frontal cortex, you know, frontal lobe, and are able to make many decisions. It brings up a lot questions in how exactly this dystopian, you know, city or world, I guess it would be the entire world at that point because it's just a city in the world, and how, you know, exactly everything is working. If the robots, or the Eves as they call it, have a consciousness and are able to make, you know, thoughts and actions and have emotions, you know, at that point, where did they gain the sentience? Is it from, you know, common practices from humans, or is it humans who simply just incorporated parts into them and that's why they became Eves? Because I know it talked about Michelle wanting to become an Eve, and so I'm very curious on if a human can add enough, cyberware onto them to become those eaves, or if those eaves simply are manufactured. It's a bit of a thought. You should probably start opening up shop now. That's fair. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Go ahead and save that. Go ahead and save that. We are on Prey. Let's go ahead and continue. Welcome. There's a repair clinic. D1Al-ogue. Hey, Chris. Ah, so they know each other. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The propaganda here is a bit appealing. You know what I mean. What brings you here at this hour? What about your cafe shift? Are you watching the popular show airing these days, Buff Girl O'Hara? Yes, I am, Prey. How did you know that? It's my favorite show. I like to watch it every day because I like watching buff girls and O'Hara. I'm guessing O'Hara's a name, but whatever. What are you talking about all of a sudden? Are you watching it? I do watch it every week, but then this will be quick. In yesterday's episode, do you remember the scene where O'Hara smashed Miss Blind with a magical pile driver? It sounds pretty gruesome, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It sounds pretty cool. O'Hara rarely gets pushed into a corner, so seeing her fight back with a double nosebleed and crush Blind's neck for a comeback was quite the twist in many ways. I'm sure it was. I'm gonna take a little pause from continuing on this dialogue. This isn't a game I regularly play, being accustomed to FPS and other types of games, but I am branching out and trying to see what kind of games there really are. I'm just looking around. So this is the establishment that we're working at, right? This is Prey, right? As we're being told by the dialogue boxes. Very pretty, but I won't touch on that. This is a nice little office, nice neat little office, a little bit of trash, but nothing crazy. We have a music player here. I think that's pretty amazing, right? You can skip some songs. This is awesome. I really do enjoy that. We have some messages, data storage, SNS options, exit. Okay. You have your little phone on the screen. I do like this layout a lot. I do hope other games do this. I don't really know how often this is done, because again, this isn't my genre that I experience a lot, but bear with me. That's exactly it. What exactly is it? That's fair. What exactly are you trying to say? A villain showed up at our shop, and they look like they desperately need that pile driver. I'm assuming she's working at Waffle House at this point, based off, how she's talking and reacting to certain situations. I need you to understand. I only understand that you have a difficult customer. Could you speak a bit more clearly? They say he's a bigwig from Sunshine Corp. Bigwig. I'm assuming it's probably in the hierarchy of whatever Sunshine Corp is. I'm assuming that they rule over the city, right? Based off the fact that the guy discussed a little bit about a sun, right? Replacing the sun with light, which that is something that we do have today, but I won't touch on that too much. And so I'm assuming it's just part of the hierarchy. He claims his mere visit is a favor to this shop. Interesting. And that threatened that he could turn off all the neon shines in this district with a single word. Neon shines. Okay. I'm assuming that's just probably the electrical grid. But, I'm not entirely sure. A different routine every day. I envy how today is unlike yesterday. Alright, she's a little angry. Don't be angry at me. I haven't done anything, sweetie. Anyway, thanks to that big shot, it's been nothing but new stability officer faces all morning. Those guys are hard to find when you actually need them, but they swarm like rats for this. Okay, I thought there was a terrorist attack or something. So that's what happened. What brings such a person to a backwater like this? So this isn't a nice city as I thought it was going to be. It seems like we're out in the outskirts of, the big cities. But he's that broke. Okay. He's pretty broke to the point where he's in what I'm assuming would be the ghetto in this world. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I don't know the details, but it seems he came to negotiate with the manager of this commercial district. Something about increasing the neon shine subscription fees around here starting next month, and removing the free neon shine streetlights. Controlling the light, his actions are just like Miss Blind. Oh, I see the connection here. See why I brought up Buff Girl. I did. I thought you were just gonna ask me about my like personal interest in women, but you know, I appreciate it. If Miss Blind has appeared in reality, then the magical pile driver isn't out of the question either. It's a little aggressive, but you know, I kind of get it. Can you go and try it? I thought this was a repair station or a repair clinic, whatever he wishes to call it. I didn't know we were a hitman. I mean, maybe this game goes in a different direction I thought it would have. It's way out of my expertise and job description, but I can mimic it. I knew it. I wanted to pour coffee on his face. Oh my. Well, you know, when you work at Waffle House, I mean, it's it's pretty relatable. But now I feel a bit better. Right, and if you're really going to try it, be careful. The security is intense. You could get arrested just for keeping your hands in your pockets. Then again today, my secret power will remain hidden. Secret power? Alright, is there superheroes in this world? I get more and more confused the more I read. So there's Eves, which are, I'm assuming, robots with just sentient consciousness, right? There's humans, and then there's I don't know, people with superpowers. I'm assuming they're just superheroes. I'm gonna see I forgot his name, but I'm gonna see Billy Bob, whatever that movie was, and he's gonna be like, if I make superpowers, nobody else can be super. I hope you get the reference. I just can't think of the names right now. Anyway, rising subscription fees is a pretty big deal. I'm sure it is. I was thinking of subscribing to a hologram figure for my lonely room, but with the increased fees, it'll be tight. Alright, so it seems, of what it sounds like, our man is a little bit of a degenerate, and so he wants to get a bit of a hologram, which is something that, you know, one can't do today. So, but very interesting. I wonder if humans and Eves, right, or robots, can be in a relationship, because I know that they can experience emotions, right? We're talked about that. And so I wonder if, with having experienced emotions, if they connect with humans, if that makes sense. Same here. Really? Oh, is she gonna be our love interest for this game? Eves are relatively free from LDS. So, do you really need to subscribe to Neon Shine? Neon Shine. I want to say shrine, but that's not correct. It's only relatively free. If our condition worsens, data loss occurs, and we could have problems more serious than humans. Interesting. Reminds me of Cortana from Halo, and how they portray AI, and you know, its relation to holding a lot of data. Plus, I've got someone to look after. Oh, she got a partner? A little boyfriend? Remy family. It's a cat. You know, I'm not. You know, I kind of get her point. You know, I would prefer somebody, if they have a pet, to treat them like family rather than, you know, abuse them. But you know, I get it. I get it. Does being a cat mean it can't be family? In a world with sentient robots, I would definitely say it can't be family. I'm a little confused by his point of view. You better watch your words in front of our Remy. Or our? I'm assuming they share it together? I'm not entirely sure. Prey showed her claws, adopting an aggressive cat-like stance. You're not showing me that. I mean, is this like I'm assuming this might be in the regular version and not the streaming mode, but please forgive me. I'll make an exception this time because I'm generous. Oh, how nice. Anyway, if the subscription fee goes up, I'll have to give up an item I was planning to buy. What were you thinking of getting? Buff Girl collaboration merch. Interesting. They're doing a collaboration with a neurostimulation unit for Eves. Neurostimulation. I'm not sure if it's exactly what I'm thinking of, but they announced that pre-orders will start on the day the last episode airs. The things people come up with. What do you mean the things people come up with? This collaboration product is amazing. They said when the empathy unit activates and overloads, it shakes your cognitive abilities, creating an illusion of transforming. It's basically another way of saying you must buy this. What on earth does that mean? And aren't the expressions shakes cognitive abilities and illusion of transforming? It sounds like something, somebody would be telling somebody, openly. Seriously suspicious. You're making a fuss over nothing. Besides, considering the chips you usually use, I don't think you're in a position to talk. What do you say? Those are legitimately released VR chips, I didn't even put them there for you to see. You just looked at them on your own. I have no intention of respecting your taste. Whoa. I don't know what my boy likes, but I kind of understand where she's coming from. But if I may give you a piece of personal advice, in a repair clinic where Eves are the main customers, displaying shifts with covers showing Eves and humans getting intimate. Okay, I was right. Chris is a degenerate loser. Alright. Listen. Having, like, a person's gonna do what they're gonna do, but like having just straight up like I would consider them to be like magazines in our current time. But just having straight up magazines with like intimate actions out and about in the lobby of where you are working, I think that's crazy. I think that's crazy. I can't imagine like walking into a doctor's office and my doctor just having magazines showing such things. It would just seem unprofessional. Doesn't seem like a very good choice. That's fair. I just put frequently used items where they're easy to see. It sounds like he has a bit of a problem. It sounds like he has a bit of a problem. That's really all I'm concluding here. It's inevitable in a workshop with lots of tools. I feel like I just heard some terrible information. If you're lonely, why don't you find a lover? He's probably stuck up on his ex still, Can't move on. I'm sorry, but okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you. It was as if she didn't want to hear it. Makes sense. I'm sure you can probably rant on considering he's in that dialogue place. Not a dialogue like game per se, but he just seems like that type of stereotypical character. And can I ask for a simple repair? I need to create an excuse to tell the boss. Sure, repairs are always welcome. Alright, let's do this. It looks like we're gonna repair Miss Prey here. Oh, big old back panel. It looks like some fuses went out or something. Alright, let's get this done. Alright, we're good here, as it looks like that's the only units that we need. I'm being dental, don't worry about it. And finally, it looks like we are going to get these last two here. Say, don't you think the name Neon Shiny Super Techy? Honestly, I would say so. I've never really heard of that before. Like a middle-aged man trying to look cool. I agree with that part. It sounds like a name where they changed one syllable from neon sign. I wouldn't say it sounds like it. It literally is that. And celebrate themselves for being extremely witty. Oh yeah? It's really a comedy that the person agreeing with that has a repair clinic with a name just as bad. I don't think it's a bad business name, but I mean, she really has a good point there. We're gonna continue repairing here, so it looks like we simply need that here. Cool. And what exactly is the stimulation from the empathy unit feel like? I only learned about it in theory, but I was curious since I've never felt it myself. So is Chris an Eve too, or is he human? It's similar to humans. If humans feel it through muscle contraction, blood flow changes, and hormone secretion. Okay, so I'm assuming we're getting into like intimate things here. For Eves, that's just replaced by the empathy unit. Stimulating this directly gives a quite pleasurable feeling. Okay, so I was right. I was right. So yeah, pretty much. Doesn't match exactly, but it's probably the closest thing. Then what about the collaboration merch you mentioned earlier? I was just curious about what it feels like to transform. I'm still a little confused about the transforming aspect. I'm not entirely sure where it leads to, you know? They say power surges through you. Sure, whatever. This guy's pretty grumpy. Yeah, it looks like we're still using the same type here. I haven't done anything. Okay. Alright. Alright, there we are. Good little repair. All done. There was no major issues. Wow, my step back feels completely refreshed. Is this what it feels like when Ahura purifies her body with brief seed? I'm assuming brief seed is just an advertisement. Is it okay to mention my crude repair in the same breath as something so noble? I'm really confused. I thought this was just a television show, like the Big Buff O'Hara, or however you pronounce the name. I was assuming it was just a television show about big buff girls and wrestling, but it sounds like I'm so wrong here. Crude, you're too strict with yourself. No one around here can match your skills. Okay, I'm just the best technician ever. Enough pray. Save that talk for after you buy me a beer. Make a fuss even when I compliment you. What a personality. I would agree. I noticed earlier your power unit was screaming again. Aren't you overworking yourself lately? It must be because a lot of zombies have been gathering in front of the shop lately. Okay, so humans, Eves, pets, and zombies. This is a very interesting world that they're living in. I'm interested. I'm interested. We'll keep going. They practically set up camp there. Zombies. You mean flicker patients high on drugs? Okay, so they got the fentanyl lean in front of the stores. Okay. Usually they just stumble around spouting nonsense. No, those are blackouts. It's a state where even radical methods like electronic drugs can't prevent damage to the frontal lobe and neural network. Interesting. So they got their own like cyber drugs. You know, I was watching this show called Lane Zero Experiments, and they were showing like these like bugs, right? They literally illustrate it as a bug that you implant onto yourself, and it, you know, it's essentially a psychosis, right? Like an LSD. And I'm not gonna explain, you know, any of those terminologies. I don't recommend you look it up either, but if you know, you know. But anyways, that's pretty cool. It seems like it's the same concept, but you know, one was made in the 90s and one was made in like 2020s. I don't really know when this game came out, but you know, carrying on. You can consider the ego and personality data virtually destroyed. Okay, so it's a pretty heavy drug then. Lately, the media seems to just call them zombies instead of severe LDS patients. Interesting. Alright. I've been here for a while, but I just thought they were drug addicts. Drug addicts are probably better off than them. Aren't they both equally in the gutter? At least junkies have their infinite love for drugs left. Blackouts are worse. Infinite love. Seeing them throw away family, lovers, and property without hesitation, isn't that the perfect expression? You know, if you've ever been with like a drug addict or lived with a drug addict or just having witnessed it, you know, working in the medical field or having family members, friends, this happens a lot. And, you know, I always do hope that they get their help. And if you're somebody who's struggling, please get help. It's something that people take lightly in how it affects their life. And, you know, you never really want to see that as somebody, you know, if you have that loved one, whether it be a sibling or a spouse or whatever the case is, you know, please get help. This is an actual thing, and I can see why somebody interprets the action as an extreme case of love for that object, right? Or, you know, whatever you wish to call it. I'm not gonna, you know, touch on basis or touch on things that we don't need to. It's like, if it's not you, the world doesn't matter. Truly an impossible devotion. In contrast, blackouts are like empty shells with even their desires gone. Well, she did talk about how much it impacts, you know, their brain, right? It completely fries them. And so I'm sure they probably just can't do anything anymore. They wander around, following the light by instinct. And when they find neon shine, they swarm like gnats and won't leave. So I'm assuming they're just very much attracted to light then. Chasing light suggests they still have at least minimal desires left. If you saw them, you'd think I'm exactly right. They aren't moving to find light. It's just that it's the only stimulus left that they can react to. What an interesting dystopian world. If they crawled around looking for light normally, maybe you'd be right. What an interesting world. You know, I'm worried in a sense that our world could simply lead to such a dystopian future as well. So I think it's interesting to see, you know, how it's portrayed. There are different types of worlds that one portrays when it comes to the dystopian future. I do think that this one is it's a very interesting one, and one that we can probably look to correct our mistakes, at least. Of course, they would become something even more terrible. As I recall, the shop you work at has a floor-to-ceiling glass window on one side, right? And clearing away the gnats I gathered there is one of my daily tasks. That's crazy, having, you know, one of your employees going out there trying to get rid of gnats. I also think it's crazy that, you know, being an Eve and having been given consciousness, you still have to work. And I mean, it makes sense, you know, looking at a dystopian future. Many people want robots to be taking care of like tasks and replacing, you know, human work. You know, it always comes to the question of like, what happens to one once, you know, you have those robots in place, right? Would we all simply be technicians? You know, it brings a bit of thought as you play the game. It's probably the cause of 80% of my power unit overloads, and the other 20% is because of the idiot removing street lights. Interesting. Oh, is that big wig she was talking about? Exactly. Every day must be tough. It gives me a headache just thinking about how much tougher it's going to get. You know that happiness and unhappiness are influenced more by future events than the present. Well, that is true. That's why, you know, being present is such a big move to try to teach others. The more present you are, the less you are focused on the future and, you know, grinding yourself with anxious thoughts of what is to come. Wasn't that a study on human psychology? Hey, look at that. Humans and Eves are pretty much the same. We've reached that point of time. Okay. Do you realize that statement conflicts heavily with your critique of my taste before the repair? I come back because I respect it. Oh. My head feels like exploding as it is. Do you have to make me say useless things? If you plan to keep wrecking me to rip off repair fees, you'd better be prepared. They're treated like mechanics. I'm sorry, customer Ray Emery. Hi, Miss Emery. Stop joking. I have to go now. Even a justified absence is a problem if it drags on. I don't want to get fired and become a zombie rubbing my face against the glass window. By now, the streetlight idiot should have left the shop too. You're sharp. Good sense, as always. It was a pleasant conversation today, Prey. Me too. See you later, Chris. Prey hurriedly left the door with quick steps. It seems she spent more time than expected, distracted by the chat. It's already time for lunch. Let's take a break. Alright, let's go ahead and save this here. I think we're gonna go ahead and call a video here. I think it's best to probably split this in parts. But it seems like a very fun game. If you do enjoy it, please leave a comment down below. That way I can know whether to go back to this and continue to play it. But regardless, this seems like a pretty interesting game in a very interesting world. I really hope that we can continue to play this, but have a good, blessed day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Much love. Mwah.